Hi.
Right, good day everybody. Hello Robert, Sid's, Ricky, I know Charlotte's in there somewhere, Darren's in there somewhere, and to any other three people that are hanging on the side there, Pat, good afternoon, good evening at least. Rick, I do have a couple of videos up on my YouTube channel about doing veranda posts and everything, so and the ship's mast. Right. There's our two earwigs tonight, Sid and Jay again. So they're going in the background now, out of the way.
Yeah, always just shoved out in the background.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And Stace, I was half expecting you this afternoon when Jay was doing his live. So right now tonight, what we're doing is a vase. We've got a bit of timber in there, and I'll get on with the turning in a minute. I hope I haven't missed anybody in the chat yet. All right. So we're turning this. I've got to alter this camera just for a second. Get my ugly dial off it. I have no idea what timber it is, but I can tell you that it's been laying around on my workshop floor and I've been falling over it for about 2 years, I suppose. I think it's a bit that Neil put there, actually. What are you mucking about with there, Jay?
I was typing on the keyboard saying hello to people that are joining.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
And
All right,
Leona's
so the first thing we're going to do... Yeah, good day, Fiona. How are you?
Leona, sorry, and Colin.
Leona, sorry.
Oh, you're late, Colin.
And Antonio.
Yeah, good day, Antonio. Okay. Roughing gouge first, European style. Check to make sure tailstock's tight. Got my safety glasses on. Let it run for a minute or so and always check the tailstock to make sure it's tight. Because with spur drives, they actually seep back into the end of the timber when they start. Never start at an end when you're roughing down, always come in an inch or so.
Neil has just come in.
G'day, Neil. I'm just saying, this is a bit of timber that's been lying on the floor for 2 years. I think you brought it down, so I don't know what it is. All I know is it's hard. Right, one final cut to full length. Lovely, tell your mother. This is a 10mm beading or parting tool. I'll just form the tenon on this end here. Like I said, it's as hard as hell. Now, the chuck that we're using tonight is a Vic Mark VM100 fitted with shark jaws. Yeah, the tool rest is moving, Mike, I know. Yeah, good day, Mike. It's got a fair amount of leverage on the outside of this, and as I said, this timber is as hard as hell, so, okay. Now, these are great for doing vases and things like that. They're just over 30 mil deep, so they will hang on like nothing on earth. What's the noise that's going on? Is it coming from me or somebody else?
I might have just bumped my microphone, Robbo. Was that like that?
No, it sounded like paper shuffling across the room or something.
Yeah, that noise.
I got my mic on mute.
Right. So this is the chuck that we'll be using tonight. And hopefully I won't need a steady in the way to do it. So I'll form the tenon on the end first. Mark a 30 mil line in here.
Ace has shared the live on Facebook, Robbo, so we might get some of the old country guys coming in.
Oh, yeah. Good. Now, the reason the tool rest was moving like that, this tool rest is actually too long. It's 14 inches long. Don't ask me what that is in metric. But the leverage on the outside ends is phenomenal. Normally on something like this, I would actually use two banjos with a solid thing. But I'm too lazy to get the other posts and things out. So whenever you're marking out something with a pencil on rotating timber, always make sure. No, can't get it there either. There. Always make sure the pencil's facing downhill like that. Never uphill into the work. Because if it hits something, it'll drive it back through your hand if you're not careful.
James Pritchard's in.
Now, using calipers to get the size. Switch it back onto overhead again.
Just beat me to it, Robbo.
Sorry?
You just beat me to it.
Whenever you're using calipers, this is the way I hold them. Always with the pin away from you. And I put the two centre fingers over the top like that and lock the nut in and hold it with my thumb just there. Two reasons for doing that. If you're measuring a lot with calipers, what happens is the vibration loosens that nut off. So consequently, everything gets wider and wider unless you stick this down. And I've been known to put a drop of nail polish or silicone or something on it to stop it from undoing. So always be aware of that. The other thing is that if it does jam and spins out, you're likely to get hit with this bit down here rather than get it round the right way. Get hit with that bit there instead of this little spiky bit. Don't ask me how I know.
Steve's in.
Yeah, I see your comment there, Steve. Now, this has to be parallel on this. No dovetail at all. And the edge here must be nice and sharp. Right, get a bit of shape into it now. I'll trim off this end as well. Now I'll get a clean end on that using a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. Goes nice and pretty. Start laying out the shape of it now. Now, I like Greek architecture, and to get an idea for this, I did a search on the internet to have a look at.
Rob's just come in.
Hey, Rob. I did a search for Greek urns just to get a rough idea of what I wanted. So I'm going to put a little bit of a neck on this. Now, I'll just switch this off a second. Now, vases are meant to hold water. I haven't met a finish yet where in a vase or anything. I know the plastic finishes and some of the resins and that are all right. Always make it so you can put a glass jar in them. So it's going to be hollowed out to that depth so that the water goes in the jar and doesn't sit against the timber, because some vases have flowers for a week or so in them, and it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough on a finish to try and stop water from leaching out into the timber. There's a hell of a lot of noise in the background, I tell you.
I've got my microphone muted until I need to say something.
No, it doesn't look muted. Right, put a cove in here. When you're cutting a cove, always come just to the centre line, fraction past it and stop. Don't carry the cut right up to the top. All you do is just tear all the fibres out. Yes, I've been using the skew, don't worry. Just move this down a fraction. Oh, I know what I meant to do there. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was going to put a neck on it, that's right. Now a bit of a cove, just a little. Flare in there. About 1/3 of the way up. There. And there. Leave a bit of. All right. Save talking to myself. I'm going to leave a little bit on the bottom here to part it off. So that's waste down in here. The rest of it's all vase. Now the glass jar comes in 150 ml. Oh, where's my pencil gone to? The fairies have been in here and taken my pencil again. I'll be damned. Nah, I'll just guess it. Right. Okay, that's where the jar comes to there. So I can start curving from there.
Darren said he heard the pencil hit the floor, and Mike says it's behind your ear.
No, I don't put pencils behind the ear because, no, funnily enough, pencils don't hold behind my ears. They fall off. Same as I can't carry a piece of timber on my shoulder. They just slide off. Okay, get rid of a bit of waste out of here. Oh, geez, it's hard. Jay, I don't think your microphone's muted.
I'll mute mine, Robbo, and see if it's coming from me.
Right, we're just putting a couple of little fillets in here. Yeah, that's definitely quieter.
That's because mine's been on mute the whole time.
Now I just formed a little plinth here. And this one here will bring around.
So Neil has a question, Robbo. Is that pile timber all the way through?
Yeah, it's got a brown heart in it, but it is like it's like this all through the thing. Like I say, I don't know what sort of timber it is, but it's damned hard. Says myself, right, I should have stuck with pine. No, all right. I do turn hardwoods occasionally.
Well, we got a new hashtag, blame Sid.
Now, just bring this around a bit. I'm terrible on design or imagination, actually, because for all my turning life, I've always worked off plans and drawings and photographs and things of what people want. So I've tended to lose a little bit of my imagination, unfortunately. Right. That's looking pretty good. Now, if you're ever in doubt about what you think something's going to look like, the best thing you can do, and I'll do it in a second.
Michael Smith came in.
Michael, just the man. To answer your question, I don't know if Charlie's answered it for you yet or not, but they're called pin gouges or sizing gouges. Whoops, I've lost. What the hell has happened? Right.
Turn your lathe off.
Yeah. They're called sizing gouges or pin gouges. You can make your own out of a bit of steel like that and just cut a slot in it. Now, so those people know what's going on. Charlie Hillen put up on the Woodturners of Australia his pin gouges for doing the tenons and things on legs and things like that. Now we use you call them sizing tools or pin gouges or whatever. Like this one here is 10 millimeters. Whoops, 10 millimeters. That one's 40. That was for a job that I was doing that had a 10 mil tenon on one end, and the bottom of the leg was 40 mil. So you just put them in. If you've got a lot of, like if I was doing a production run of these with that tenon on it, for instance, I wouldn't use calipers. I'd actually have a sizing thing that fitted over the thing so that I get it right every time. And this one here is actually a Vic Mark one for doing their the Escalon chuck. So that's what they're there for. Does that answer your question, Michael? Pin gouges or sizing tools? I'm just waiting for an answer. Yes, I have to admit that I don't know if anybody's seen Jay's live. He did a Christmas tree, and he did a very good job of it doing it with the skew. He only had one catch the whole way. Okay, thanks, Michael. Rightio. So I'll just give this a... Now, as I was saying, if you're unsure of what something looks like when it's lying down like this, take it out of the lathe and sit it up at eye level. I've got to make sure I get... Right. Sit it up at eye level like that and have a good look at it to see if it flows properly. Now, to me, that looks too thick about here. I don't mind it being that wide down there because it's a vase and it's going to have flowers in it, so it's going to be very top heavy. So I prefer a little bit of weight in the base. So what I'll do, I'll put it back on the lathe. I'll take that down a little bit. Now, this is the advantage of doing real turning between centres. You can put it back in exactly the same place every time. Probably make make a liar out of me now. Right, just take this down a bit further.
Change cameras, Robbo.
Oh.
So Neil says it looks like one of the timbers he got on a trip near Emerald.
Oh, yeah. All I know is it's hard. Okay. I'll narrow this fillet down a little bit. And I'll extend the neck. Now, please, nobody do this at home. This is the way I work during the day. Have a quick look, see what it looks like. Change cameras again so you can see it. Come on. I personally think that looks a lot better. No, I can't. Oh, sorry, you're talking to somebody else right now. I think that looks a bit better. What say ye? Go on, Steve, you've always got an opinion.
Yeah, it looks good. But I think I'd cut it in half and make two.
I think Steve's gone to sleep.
Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, give that a quick sand now. So I've just got to get some sandpaper. A little bit thinner still, you reckon, Mike? A little bit thinner down in here. Sorry, there's a 30-second delay between the question and the...
He said personal preference.
Yeah. No, I think I'll leave it alone. I'll just leave it like that. I'll just fix up this fillet a little bit here. Right. Now, Grecian urns can be very tall and skinny as well, like amphoras and things like that, Charlotte. Put Grecian urn into Google and you'll find thousands of different shapes with them.
Well, there's definitely more people like it as it is rather than change it, Robbo. He's taking his earphones off now. I can't hear it.
The rest. Now, I never finish sanding to the final grits until I've actually got it in a chuck and everything. Same thing with bowls. I never finish them off before I turn them around. I've had so many cases where when you put it in the chuck, it just wiggles a little bit and suddenly you've got to virtually take the finish off to get it back to a round shape. So, oh, come on, you mongrel thing.
Neil said he.
Yeah,
I seen that.
I read it. I'm not going to worry about trying to fit it there. I'm just going to fit the major diameter it can be inside there, all right? It says it's removable so you can take it out and wash it. Okay. Start with 120 grit. switch the extractors on. Now, whenever you're sanding something, particularly with coves and beads and things in it, you don't want to destroy this edge and round it over. So you come from the bottom up out of it, like so. Fold the paper in half to do the fillet on the side here. So to maintain the nice crisp edges on it. $1.80.
So Charlotte's asking, is the base of the urn at the headstock or the tailstock, Robbo?
Just wait a second, Sid. Now, what was that?
Charlotte has a question, is the base of the urn at the headstock or the tailstock?
The base is at the headstock. This is the base here. The glass thing goes in there. Now, another advantage with doing reel turning is that if your lathe hasn't got any reverse on it, take it out, turn it round. Put it back on centers. Away you go. Okay, we'll take this out now. Put the chuck on.
Yappy's in.
G'day, Yappy, how are you? Right. Strip down time the blade. Oh, I found my pencil. It was hiding underneath one of the tools.
Okay, I'll stop looking now.
Okay, thanks, Sid.
Tommy's just come in.
Now, whenever you're fitting a Morse taper into the tailstock, I read so many cases of where people just sit it in like that and then wonder why it comes out when it's drilling. Always sit it just near the end and thump it up, and it'll lock in there 9 times out of 10. Another little thing is a lot of lathes have self-ejecting tailstock centers and things. And quite often when you buy a drill chuck or something like that, it's got this little tang on the end of it here, that little bit there, and you lose about 1 inch of travel in your quill. Normally, this one's not self-ejecting. Normally, I cut that tang off so that I get full travel on the quill in the tailstock.
Tommy and Mark have come in.
Right.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Always make sure your chuck's tight. That way you don't need washers or anything on it to get the thing back off again. Another pet peeve of mine. And always check both sides of the chuck. Tighten everything up. Okay. Now let's have a look and see. Standing off to the side. Now you can see what I mean about that, just that little fraction of movement. And if I'd finished it right off, I'd be very disappointed. Right, let's drill a hole. Now I'm going to up the speed here. I'll switch it off just for a second. I'll explain why. Our drill bits are tungsten carbide. Now, this was before you could actually buy tungsten carbide Forstner bits. We actually had to have them made like this because we used to drill a lot of treated pine posts and things, and a normal Forstner bit would drill about 5 to 10 holes, and that'd be the end of it. These drill over 400 and are still sharp, but they like more speed than you normally use with a normal Forstner bit, before anybody complains. The other thing, always hold the chuck, because if it does come out of the taper, at least it's not going to flop around in there, probably spin the work out and hit you. So, plus you can feel it. Just going to switch the extractor on again.
So Yolandi has a question there, Robbo, that you might be able to help with.
I can't hear anything. Just wait a minute. All right, we're down to depth.
So Yolanda's question, Robbo.
Yep.
She seems to have got her chuck like that jammed and can't get the drill bit out. Any advice would be great.
Is the drill chuck? Is the drill stuck in the chuck, or is the chuck stuck in the lathe?
Nick, the Flavy Turner's just come in.
G'day, Nick. How are you?
Hey, Nick.
And Mark, the gentleman Turner, came in earlier. Robbo.
I have. G'day, Mark. I enjoyed
Yolanda
the bowl last
is.
night. Looked like
Is
fantastic.
your drill bit stuck in your chuck, or is the chuck stuck in the tailstock?
To answer your question, Antonio, while I'm waiting for Landy's answer, no, not in something this big. For starters, you virtually got to get a hole, and I'm pretty quick with a gouge, but like that's got a 50 mil hole down, virtually right down. Now, wait on, which one is it, Yolanda? Is it is it stuck in the? Is the drill stuck in the chuck, or is the chuck stuck in your lathe?
Drill is stuck in the chuck, Robbo.
Right. Okay. You should be able to undo it with a chuck key. I'll just remove the tailstock so I've got room. Tool rest in. I might change tool rest actually.
Dutch Turner's just come in.
Yeah, good old Dutch. Right, okay, I'll continue. Now, there's various ways to hollow this out. Because of the depth, you're very limited in how far you can get a gouge down in there to actually pull the centre out. So, I'll do most of it with the gouge. And then there's going to be something that you very rarely see me use. I may even use a carbide tool. Whoa, that's a rare one for me. But I must admit, for hollowing, carbide is excellent. So carbide does have its use.
Wow, I'm glad I'm sitting down when you said that.
I know, I'll admit it. Then there's this one, which is an adaptation of an Olin tool, it's called. It's got a piece of tool steel in the end here, and it's locked down with a thing, and it works pretty much the same way as a normal scraper. There's just a normal scraper you can use. But the most important thing is to make sure that you keep the handle down low. Because this is a parallel hole, you can pretty well use anything you like in it, because it's just virtually going straight down the centre here. I wouldn't be different if it was being scooped out to the sides around here, because then you would need a hollowing tool like the Simon Hopes and those sort of things, and they do a fantastic job doing what they do. So, but I This is only about sorry, this isn't a hollow vessel. I've only ever done about 3 hollow vessels, so it's not my forte. I'm a real turner. I like spindles. Okay, so we'll start pulling out some garbage out the inside.
Robbo, before you start making noise there,
Yep.
so Yolandi's just commented her chuck is a keyless chuck like yours, which is why she asked about getting a drill bit out that was stuck.
Okay, what you got to do, Yolanda, the right tools to use are actually called C-spanners, but they're they're not hard to find. They're expensive for just one item. Have you got 2 pairs of multi-grips? Or a pair of Stilsons and a pair of multi-grips?
The little lag gets painful sometimes.
Yeah, I know. On my big drill press that's got a keyless chuck, quite often those big carbide bits do get stuck. And those chucks get stuck, and I have to use 2 pairs of multi-grips on them. Oh, jeez, Darren. You've insulted. Like,
we want him in a timeout, Robbo, or you letting him get away with it?
No. Most people know that, look, this is real turning when it's between centres, right? Then there's bowls, which are... Then there's pens. Carbides are generally toilet stuff. Yes, pens are spindle turning, but...
Yolandi said yes, so I'm assuming that means she's got the tools.
Yeah, right. Well, what you do is you just get 2 pairs of multi-grips. Now, I'm not being insulting here. Make sure you're undoing it the right way, not tightening it up. And you just hold them opposing each other. Put it into the... I'm going down to there, Charlotte. The depth of the jar, 150 mil. You're a mob of bloody stirrers on her, I tell you.
Yay! Thank you, everyone, for stirring him.
Fortunately, I've got a thick skin. I'm a Victorian.
Okay, Yolanda's got that.
If you get into trouble, Yolanda only lives 20k up the road. Unfortunately, I can't go and do it for her because of our lockdowns. But if you get into trouble, Yolanda, ring me, all right? And I'll explain it to you. Okay.
There's service for you, Yolandi.
Okie doke.
Yeah, I've got no sound either. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, we've lost your sound, Robbo, if you can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Right. Yeah, sorry. the little buttons down right on my belt, and wherever sometimes I lean against the. I'm glad you said muted, Pat. Not what they do to dogs.
Bit late for that,
Right.
I think.
Right, just checking the size that I need to fit that in there. Now, it's starting to get a few cracks around this. I knew it had a few in there before. So, how are we going for time? 9 o'clock. I'll just get this hollowed out, and then I'll put super glue down into there, and it'll be a part 2 next week, because I'm actually going to decorate this one as well. So, I just want to get the size of the bottle right first before I go too deep. Now, this is a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. And you keep the flute at 45 degrees across like that, and you're cutting with, I've got to get it up to the camera, you're cutting just off the point here. And do it nice and easy. Believe it or not, and Neil can verify this, we've made giant pencils, haven't we, Neil? 8 feet high. Now this is just suck it and see time. Right, that'll do. Beautiful. When you're doing stuff like this, always check the chuck to make sure that it's tight. Okie doke. So I'm probably going to drown out the vision here a bit. So I'm going to bring a light into there so as I can see how it's going.
Amy's coming.
Sorry?
Amy's just coming.
Amy!
Now, you've got to remember that all turning is physics. The things we're using here are called levers, and they disguise them as chisels. That is your force. That is your load over on this end here. This is your fulcrum, and your hands are your force. If the load exceeds the force, you'll end up over the back of the back of the load somewhere. So we're working a fair amount. Excuse me, sorry. We're starting to work a long way up the rest now, and that's what's causing the vibration. So I've virtually got the chisel tucked, just about locked to my side, with my elbow locked to stop it from.
So they've asked us to let us know, Robbo, that you've gone past 100 subs.
Sorry, what's that?
They've asked us to let you know you've gone past 100 subs, so you can request your URL if you want.
Oh, that'd be good. Thank you to all concerned.
Neil has a question, Susan.
Sorry?
Neil has a question. Since you're using a glass jar on the inside finish, and the inside finish doesn't matter you, why not just plunge the TC tool?
Well, that's yeah, I'm just getting rid of a bit of waste, that's all. And there's a lot of people that can't afford tungsten carbide tools or anything, and you can do it with an ordinary skew chisel. That's why I'm just doing it, cleaning it up with the skew chisel now. You don't need expensive tools to do a job. Good quality tools, yes, but you can make things do a lot of different jobs as well as just what they were made for. Now, what's Stu? Yes, yeah.
Steve's actually got a sensible question.
Yeah, I see that. I'm just answering it now. Yes. In fact, it has about 2 millimeters. It has about 2 millimeters clearance. I'll show you in a second. Just getting an idea of how far I've gone in. Now, just to satisfy you, Neil. Now you can't push them too hard, because otherwise you'll run into the heavy wall wood that I haven't quite got out yet. I just want to have a look and see how we're going for depth. Normally I'd blow this out with a compressor, but I can't be bothered turning it on at the moment. Right. Now our hole's tapering a little bit, and there's a good reason for that. That when you're going down into a hole, even though this tool is actually rounded over on the end there, it
Tommy's
gets forced
leaving.
into it. All right, see you later, Tommy. Thank you. as you force down, because it's coming around the edge, it hits the square edge and it keeps forcing it in towards the centre like that. I'll just zoom this one in a bit. It forces it away from the side, so you've virtually got to turn the chisel around. Get the overhead camera now. You've virtually got to turn the chisel around like that to keep it going straight down the side. And if you're not careful, you could come out through the side. So just be aware of that as you're working. Rightio.
So, Robbo, Mike's written a little poem for you, but he's also asked what finish you're going to use.
Sorry, who's that?
Mike, Midnight Joker.
Oh, right. I'm just going to use nitrocellulose lacquer on the inside, or put shellac or something down in there just to make it look pretty. Because as Neil said, the glass jar's in there, so it really doesn't have to be a super fine finish in there at all. The outside of it, I've always been intrigued by this copper coat that you can make. Wait up, sorry. That you can age, with the green stuff on it. So I'm going to age it. That'll be next week, though. I'm starting to get into time now. All right, I'll finish hollowing this out.
Charlotte has one question. Is the jar taller or shorter than the container?
The jar will just sit, the top of the jar will sit virtually flush with the edge like that, or just a 15th above it. Okay. Get back onto the end camera again. Yep. Just hold on a minute, folks. I'm off the acid.
Okay. Yeah, not sure when it's going to be, Amy, but we've got it in the plans anyway, Joe. Haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll come and ambush Robbo.
What are you lot plotting?
Road trip, Robbo, as soon as all this COVID shit stuff finished.
Yeah.
We're all going to come and sleep at your house.
My bag's the cameraman.
I reckon. No, Pat would probably claim that, wouldn't you, Pat?
It's got 2 beds.
Yeah.
Leona's up for an Aussie road trip.
Bring it on.
Oh, come on, you mongrel. Get on there.
But they don't make porridge like. It's not how they make porridge.
So Anthony commented earlier, Robbo, just as you went out, that he thought copper coat was more of an anti-seize thing.
No, it's the copper paint.
Anthony
Oh,
Burgess that's come in. No? Okay.
Right, now, this is for Yolanda as well. I'm going to cheat here because I can. And I'll be off the air for a second.
Yolanda, it depends what eucalypt. Some are softer, some are harder. I had a nice, was starting to look like a nice little red gum bowl I was turning today and lost a big chunk out the side of it. So some of it's quite hard and got cracks in it. But usually finishes up with some nice finish on it though. I like turning it. So Antonio's had to leave.
Right, Yolanda, you've got your... I'll just move this back a bit.
Where's your microphone?
You've got your drill stuck in the chuck. And they tend to self-tighten with big Forstner bits in them. And that's the problem. Now, they do have... Oh, come on. This zipper annoys the hell out of me sometimes. They do have holes in here that you can get a C-spanner onto. But if you've got a big pair of multi-grips or Stilsons, geez, things are not going well tonight. Lock it into the tailstock. I can't find the Stilsons at the moment. Oh, come on. No, gonna have to find the Stilsons or a big pair of multi-grips. Wait on.
In my opinion, Yolandi, it's certainly worth the effort. You get good results out of it, and if you're going to resin it, that'll hold it together a bit too.
Not having a good time tonight. So what you do is hold the base of the chuck there, and the other main part of the chuck, and just undo it. I can't undo it like that. Now, like I said, I'm going to cheat. I'm just getting my little drill. Which came wrong way? That one. Right.
So Darren's wondering what brand your drill chuck is, Robbo.
I don't know, probably Red Cherry or some Chinese brand. Now, another little thing you've got to be careful of when you're drilling is to make sure that this lock on the tile stock here doesn't come undone. A lot of tile stocks use this to keep it in the keyway down the thing. Instead of having a separate lock for the key for the quill to run in, they use the lock itself. It's the only failing with this lathe, and that's what it does. And if it comes undone all the way, the whole quill will rotate and it throws everybody into a panic. That's fixing its little trolley. Right, let's have a look-see. Oh, yes, nearly there. It's only got about another inch to go. Where will I put it? Another little safety thing. Never grab hold of the end of the drill after it's been in there. Gets hot. Very hot. Okay. Just to make sure this doesn't spin round. Oh, yes. I normally don't drill at all on this lathe because the bed's that short that and the tail stock takes forever to wind in and out. I normally do it on the bigger ones because it's got quick threads on the tail stock. Come on, must have more stuff stuck down in there. That's how me. Yeah, it should fit. It's all right, folks. I'm just talking to myself. It's got to go a bit further yet. By the look at things. Okay, we can do that. Yeah, actually, Darren, a lot of hair and form stuff's fairly good, particularly the metalworking stuff. That's why you don't put your fingers inside it. Right. It must have just a little bit of a ridge down in there somewhere. All right. I'll get to go with the gouge and just get a bit out of there. 919. Right. Do-do-do-do. Use the tungsten one.
Robbo,
Yes.
Neil asked, does the wood smell like breakfast cereal?
It has got a distinct odour to it. I can't. Not having breakfast, I don't know.
Robbo's come up with a possible identification for the wood, scrub leopard wood.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought he was swearing at me. Don't want that one. Want this one. Right. Might have to make myself one of those little jiggers that Cindy Drones had the other night. She had an interesting thing for getting the shavings out of the hollow forms. Looked like a little spoon.
Yeah, it was a good idea.
Hang on.
I use a zip tie.
Yeah, I know. Right. Do it the easy way. Woohoo. Help! I was right the first time. Now it's gone right in.
Put your vacuum up to it.
No, wait on. The magnetic vase off the end of the light works wonders. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that at the moment. I'll fill all these little cracks in here. I'll just get the overhead camera on so you can see them. It's got little cracks down in here, there, right down through here. So what I'm going to do is I'll fill those and let them dry with super glue. I'll finish up the inside a little bit. I might take a little bit more off the top, but that's as far as I'm going tonight, because we've got Steve coming on in 3/4 of an hour. So I'd like to thank you all for coming. G'day, David. Sorry if I missed anybody that came in. And I hope that you found it interesting. Hope you learned a few new things. Hope I helped solve a few problems. So from me and all the worms, have a good night. Half of you I'll see in about 3/4 of an hour. And we'll chat in there. So thank you, worms. And
No worries, Robbo. You're welcome.
I'll shut the live off
And Steve, that
in
was
about 3 seconds with the, if I can find the mouse.
that was a shocker,
Right.
Steve.
Good night, James. Darren. All right.
See you later.
Thank you, everybody.